Suspiria, a grandiose fright film from the Italian master of horror Dario Argento, which debuted in 1977. As the first film in the Three Mothers trilogy, it is the only one of the three to have maintained much of a following, and quite frankly, nothing much like the film has been made since. The story revolves around a young woman who has just joined a prestigious dance academy. What starts innocently enough very quickly unravels a neon-laced nightmare of operatic proportions. And so, the question remains, should you see Suspiria? In some ways, Suspiria just hasn't aged well. In others, Suspiria is utterly timeless. It is important to remember the decade in which this film was released. Audio dubbing in the 70s, especially with lower budget foreign films, could be pretty horrendous, and Suspiria is a prime example of that. In addition, the poor dialogue dubbing and hammy performances from a lot of the side characters can be pretty distracting. That said, the lead actress, Jessica Harper, is quite good, and her dialogue doesn't appear to have been meddled with. It almost seems as though, even though all the cast members were presumably saying their lines in English, anyone with an accent was dubbed over. Poorly. Despite these flaws, the gimped performances and occasionally strange acting choices only end up factoring into the narrative in its favor, serving to instill within the viewer that something is not right here. It's uncomfortable, but even its flaws work to the benefit of the experience overall. The pacing of the film is very slow and deliberate, with scares coming from Goblin's layered, memorable soundtrack, and a slow-burning sense of unease. This vibe is worked into nearly every shot of the film, from the composition of the frame to the lighting. Very rarely is something truly frightening shown, but the sense of fear is ever present. Despite the restraint of the film's pacing, Suspiria isn't shy on gore, yet even the gore is hyper-stylized, with vibrant splashes of bright red blood juxtaposed against incredible architecture. Everything is composed like a painting and lit with neon light. The surreal nature of the film compounds as the levels of tension stack up. Viewing Suspiria can often feel like a nightmare, in that you know that the character should definitely run, but they keep inching along directly towards the source of terror in a dreamlike stupor. Narrative holes and gigantic gaps in logic simply do not matter in Suspiria. The execution of the story is so dreamlike, the soundtrack so hypnotic, and the images so beautiful that the film manages to just glide past these pitfalls effortlessly. When we speak of our dreams, do the absurdities surprise us, much less take away from the experience? So, should you see Suspiria? If watching a trippy, slow-burning horror film with a killer aesthetic sounds like a good time to you, then Suspiria might just be your new best friend. If you tend to be a bit squeamish and need your films to be realistic in nature or airtight without logic gaps, then you might not enjoy Suspiria as much as I did. I do not recommend watching the trailer for this movie before seeing it, as it really doesn't represent the final film well at all. By way of second opinions, The film currently has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, as well as a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.